Hello everyone, this is Josephine from Paris and Beyond Tours, and today we're at the Louvre. I'm so happy to be back here. It's been the longest closure of the museum, nearly 4 months. And here we are, smiling at us, Our Lady Mona Lisa. Did you know that the painting only became famous in the 1900s after it's been stolen by a certain man called Vincent Peruggi, who used to work in the Louvre? It's been gone for nearly 2 years and eventually came back to the Louvre in 1913. So today I'm going to take you on a little walk of my second home, and as you see, business back to usual. The tickets are being sold in advance online, and only about 80% of the capacity are open up to the public. For today, all the reservation has already been sold out, and only part of the Louvre is open. About 70% of the museum is open to the public. So I intend to take you on a little walk of the most well-known sections. So we're going to look at some of the Renaissance paintings, French paintings, as well as Greco-Roman statues from the antiquity. So we're looking at the largest painting in our museum. Any guess to what the theme would be? What does it look like? The man with a nice pink halo in the center, sitting at a large dining table, may remind you of the Last Supper of Leonardo da Vinci. In fact, this is not the Last Supper. Here's the hint. There's a servant, bare feet, pouring wine. Yeah. Hi John, hi Lynn. Thanks for joining me today. Now, any idea what is this historical moment is represented here? This is Jesus' first miracle. Jesus and Mary and Peter, they've been invited to a wedding at Cana, and the guests to this wedding, they have finished all the wine. Jesus asked the servant to fill a stone jar with water and performed his ever first miracle of transforming water into wine, aka the favorite miracle of the French. So this is 700 square feet painting. It's done in several canvases, and you may notice a line right there in the center. So if you just look at the borders of the frame, you may notice a line, and you check out the balustrade, you can see a dark mark. So this actually was not original canvas line, but cut by Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte when he looted this piece from the original host, which was a Benedictine chapel in Venice. And so he actually had this cut into 2 pieces and rolled up and shipped to Paris. This is the only reason why this stolen painting is still remaining in the Louvre, for its own safety. So now, after the largest painting of the museum, I'll take you to see the second largest painting here. We're passing some other works by the same painter, Paolo Veronese, a beautiful portrait of an aristocracy lady. Same for this one here, Paolo Veronese's The Last Supper, the dinner at Emmaus, where Jesus returns from resurrection. And once again, passing the line of Mona Lisa. So here we are on our way to the French paintings. I'll show you now the second largest painting in the museum, only 500 square feet, only twice the size of my apartment in Paris. So lucky us here. We're entering the Red Gallery. Okay, there was a moment. Hopefully you can all hear me now. Can you let me know in the chat, in the comments, if you can hear me? So the Louvre is a very old building. The oldest part dates to the 12th century. It was originally built as a fortress outside the medieval walls of Paris. Situated next to the Seine River, protects the Parisians from the invasion. So therefore there are lots of thick walls. And here we are in front of the coronation of Empress Josephine. So can you find where Napoleon is? Napoleon, right? He was 35 years old. He invited the Pope, which is the figure who's seated behind the back of Napoleon. You can see his right hand side raised with 3 fingers blessing. So did you know that Napoleon actually grabbed the crown from the hands of the Pope, held above his own head, and then crowned himself? He was the first man in history who crowned himself. So obviously the painter Jacques-Louis David could not possibly represent the coronation at the moment where Napoleon is grabbing the crown. So now we are looking at Napoleon crowning his wife, Empress Josephine. So have a closer look at the face of Josephine. That's me, reincarnated in Chinese blood 200 years later, by the way. My husband is exactly the same size as Napoleon. So there we are. Now, any idea how old Josephine was at this moment in 1804, December the 2nd? Very important because this is when we celebrate Britney Spears' birthday as well. So, any guess? Let me know in the chat, in the comments. Well, you may think she looks rather young, right? A 15, 16-year-old teenager. Well, that was some really good Botox. Botox always worked, always will. She was in fact 41 years old and 6 years older than her husband, Napoleon. So, but Frenchmen generally love cougars, so that's not a problem. Just ask our French President Macron, you'll see why he married a 24-year older wife. So we're leaving the coronation room. This room is filled with works of Jacques-Louis David, the man who painted the coronation for Napoleon. And we're on our way to see perhaps the most iconic painting representing the French Revolution by Eugène Delacroix, Lady Liberty Leading the People. So, as I was saying, part of the museum are still closed. This used to be a souvenir shop. So yes, John, the colors are very vivid on the painting. And this is all. Here we are now continuing the French collection. Hi, Anita. Yes, I hope you will return too. I was surprised to also notice that there are quite many guided tours happening in the museum. I heard them in English, in German, in French. So hopefully we'll be giving back tours soon. So here we are. You may notice the tricolor French flag. Now this is representing the July monarchy. It's a 3-day revolution in July. And this lady, Marianne, represents the Republic of France. So if you think about it, her outfit doesn't really match with the background, right? The time is 1830. She looks almost like a Greek goddess, right? Dressed in drapery. And if you look at the details, that she doesn't have shoes. One more thing, if you look at her hat, she's sporting a red cap, and this is called the Phrygian cap. This represents liberty, in fact. So she doesn't exist. She is not real. She's allegorical. There's only one man who sees her, that man who's dying at the feet, looking up and appreciating his sacrifices is for the liberty of all the French. So if you pay attention to the composition of the painting, you will see the 3 colors, red, white, blue, reappears on the painting several times. Do you find the same 3 colors, red, blue, and white? Where can you see them? Let me start. How about the man dying at the feet of Lady Liberty? Do you see? His outfit is made up with blue, white, and red. And if you look at those dead French revolutionary, you see the white shirt, red blood, and blue socks. The dead body of the monarchy soldier. You have the uniform also with the 3 colors. You can even see the signature of the painter Delacroix written here. And just above, that is the Notre Dame bell towers. So, lots of interesting details to discover in the paintings, of course. So we're moving on, and I'm taking you from the first floor of the museum, where You see paintings as they're lighter, so they are hosted on the higher floor, the first floor. And so just before we go down, have a look how beautiful the architecture is. This is the Lady Liberty Marianne once again. We see her everywhere, on the French coins, for example, as well, and all the government buildings. Looking back to where we just been. So these two symmetrical red galleries are where the French big scale paintings are hosted. So now we're taking the staircase down. So on the ground floor and the basement, we have the collection of antiquity sculptures, also Renaissance sculptures, as they're heavier. This is a Renaissance work by an Italian sculptor, Cennini, representing Diana, the goddess of hunt. Yep, with her wild animals. So we're now going to see three pieces of sculptures. They're all my favorite in the Louvre. Oh, surprise! This is my first visit. So I'm looking at the Louvre with fresh eyes just like you, and I was expecting to see Michelangelo's slave sculptures right here, but they're empty, apparently, right, maybe on a restoration mission. Hi, John. By the way, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know in the chat, in the comments. Love this bronze piece of God's messenger, Mercury. I've been told many times that actually here, that's the god of sun, Apollo, but he's also busy teleworking, taking a selfie of himself, if you can make that out. So this used to be a spear or a sword, but it broke, but it looks like the perfect selfie sculpture, isn't it? So now my favorite is over here in the corner, and it's a love story. So it's cute to see lovers taking selfies in front of Antonio Canova's Cupid and Psyche, or Eros and Psyche. So look at this. So Cupid falls in love with this mortal being, Psyche, the most beautiful lady. And the mother of Cupid, Venus, gets jealous and somehow sends him to kill her. So make this flask that fell when she fell into eternal sleep. So here, as we're getting closer to the thick walls, the connection is not that great, so I'm going to move on. So just as a hint, a tip, if the live is buffering a lot because of the connection, you can watch the replay of the live. It will be a bit more smooth. So I have one more sculpture that I really have to show you. And it's just at the end of the hall. So, oh yes, little view of the pyramid. There we go. So good to see you. So good to see so many of you coming. And so nice to hear that you miss Paris. I missed my office, my Louvre. I used to give tours here almost 3 times a day, almost every day except Tuesdays, obviously, when it's closed. And it is absolutely enjoyable, pleasure to be here. It's not crowded at all, as you probably can tell from your past visits. Usually, you see how the staircase leading to the Winged Victory of Samothrace is packed with people, right? And so most of the visitors are really respecting the social distancing, and the Louvre has also set up a very specific route. This is why I started this little tour from the Mona Lisa. So I'm going down. So not really too much change in my opinion, as I used to give tours of an hour and a half or even 3 hours, we're still able to access all of those highlights. So here we are at the Goddess of Victory, and the Goddess of the Victory to the Greek had a special name, 4 letters, starting with letter N. Any idea what is the name for the Greek Goddess of Victory? Let me know in the comments. So you might be wearing her. I am wearing her. So it is Nike. Here we are. Isn't it nice to see her without the crowds? She is 200 BC old, well, more than 2,000 years old. In fact, the wing that you see on the left-hand side is a 19th century Louvre replica. You can really see the color of the wing being whiter, lighter than the rest of the body. She really wasn't meant to even be seen from the current perspective. Well, you can see how part of her sculpture on the left-hand side is very rough. On the right-hand side, her thighs and her knee is very smooth, very polished. So that was completed. And on the left, it was just left to be like that. Why? Because she was commissioned to be placed in a sanctuary on a Greek island, Samothrace. Therefore, her full name is the Winged Victory of Samothrace. And she was always meant to be seen from this perspective. Isn't it a bit nicer? You see, everything on this side makes sense. You really see the dynamic movement in her body, right? Her left foot, right, seems to be pushing her body upwards, and there's wind thrusting towards her, and you can see how light the wings with layers of feathers. So this is the original one. The replica was made in mirror image of this original wing. Yes, this is also my favorite place, and I just love to sit here on the side. If you see there are actually 2 or 3 levels of bench, so just to contemplate and enjoy the details and the power. And you can also find a really good spot for photos just where the guards are. So yeah, so that is pretty much my time with you today. Of course, there's no way that you can see everything in the Louvre in even 3 hours. So, but this is just a little teaser for you guys. So if ever you come to Paris, please contact us. We're giving tours all over Paris, and hopefully we will meet you in person very soon. So from Josephine, goodbye, stay good, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye.